Jesus tells us that he's the good shepherd, right? He's the good shepherd, and he says, my sheep, they know me, and they hear my voice. But see, what was happening in the church in Galatia is that there were some other shepherds, some false shepherds, who were coming in, and they were saying things that were leading people in the wrong direction. Their way of speaking was amazing. They were experts at rhetoric. We talked about this last week. They could get up and they could tell you things and you wouldn't believe it at first, and then by the time you were done, you would believe it. They were good at arguing. They were good at presenting. But what happens in that process, they're drowning out the good news of Jesus. See, the good news of Jesus is that you are saved by his grace. Salvation is free. It's not salvation by works. It's salvation by grace and grace alone. And that's good news. We'll talk a little bit about why that's good news in a few minutes, but they were replacing it with something different. And what we find out a little bit later is what they're replacing it with is salvation by works. Jewish laws and customs. Now, I'll be honest with you. There's the Jewish laws and the customs, the 10 Commandments, what God put in place are good. They're not bad. But then they had to wrap all these other laws around it. And it became all about the law, all about keeping the law. And then when you do that as believers, if we focus only on the law and keeping the law, then we completely ignore the finished work of Jesus Christ on the cross. Jesus says it's finished, right? What's finished? Salvation. It's done. The price has been paid. There's nothing else that needs to be done. And what they do when someone says that they came in and they were telling them that well, you need to become Jewish, you need to be circumcised, you need to follow all the Mosaic laws and everything you need is in the Old Testament you need to do. And here are all the thousands of laws around it that keep you from doing something you're not supposed to. All of a sudden it becomes salvation by works. And it lays a huge burden on the believer. Because now I have to continue to do those good works to keep my salvation. That was the problem. See, sound doctrine is so vital to the church. Sound doctrine is important to the church, even today. It's this measuring rod that keeps the church on the right path. And what was happening is these Judaizers were armed with strong doctrine. They had strong doctrine. I mean, come on. The Jewish people have been following this for thousands of years. It's tried and true. It works, right? I mean, that's what we think. We think something's been around a long time will work. Unless you're in the medical field, and it's all the new stuff that's good, We don't need those herbs and things because those don't work. We don't know. But they were like, this is what you should be doing. And so Paul is going to challenge their doctrine with even stronger doctrine. You see, today, I think there's a cancer in the church. There is a cancer in the church today where whole denominations are turning from sound doctrine all to false doctrine, all in the name of unity, inclusion, and in providing an experience. Talked about that last week too. This false doctrine focuses on love and acceptance. I mean, come on. All we need is love, right? If we just love everybody, things would be perfect. And love is the greatest of all. I mean, it's even higher than faith and hope. Love is awesome. Love is needed. But the problem is that love doesn't come from itself. It comes from the gospel. No greater love is there than one who lays down his life for his brother. The love that we should be experiencing comes from the gospel, and the gospel guides that love. Because what happens when we don't have the gospel guiding our love? It goes wherever it wants. I love my car. I love my job, And I don't just mean like I enjoy my job. No, people say I love my job because they truly love it. It is a love affair. I love my wife. I'm supposed to. But I also love this person. Oh, now we have problems. And the worst thing of all, we come to where we love ourselves. We become a narcissist. We love ourselves more than anything. That's the problem when love is not guided by the gospel. And what happens is when the fruit of the gospel, fear of the Spirit, which is love, joy, peace, patience, kindness, goodness, faithfulness, gentleness, and self-control, when those are not firmly planted in the gospel, if those aren't guiding us, they begin to wither on the vine when we ignore the gospel. And what happens? What takes their place? Well, obviously the deeds of the flesh. Immorality, impurity, sensuality, idolatry, sorcery, enmities, strife, jealousy, outbursts of anger, disputes, dissensions, factions, envying, drunkenness, carousing, and things like these. And these are all things Paul are going to warn the Galatians about. Because when we don't keep on the gospel, when we don't have sound doctrine, those are the things that will grow in our lives. But all we need is love, right? This is why Paul is so insistent that we stand firm in the gospel. Because it is the source of all love. And what is the gospel? The gospel is the good news that Jesus, that we're sinners, that we need a Savior, that Jesus came, died for us on the cross, rose again, he's coming back, and that he gives us salvation by grace, not because of what we did, but because of what he did on the cross.